What's up, everybody? Tyson Roush, Let's Talk Jets Radio. First off, I want to thank everybody that's been subscribing to our channel, leaving us feedback, interacting with us. We definitely appreciate it. On social media, on Twitter, TRAUCH21, at Talk Jets Radio, obviously, too, Twitter. First off, I want to thank everybody that listened to the interview with Fireman Ed and also the interview with Aaron Glenn. The Fireman Ed interview obviously got a lot of attention. Very passionate guy, good friend of mine, and obviously there was a lot of cursing and stuff, which happens. I mean, listen, we try to keep our radio show censored because we try to get advertisers. We want to make it more family-oriented, where you can listen to the show at work and whatever else. But listen, I mean, sometimes shit happens, and it is what it is. Ed is, when his passion's like that and he's rolling, I'm not going to stop him. So if anybody got offended, we apologize. I had a blast. And some of his takes I may or may not agree with, but the whole goal of all of this is for everybody to have their opinions. The Adam Gase stories, I mean, there's either Gase apologists, there's Gase haters, some people in the middle. And it's at this point, it's just getting annoying. I'm tired of reading the articles. I'm tired of talking about it. I mean, the expectations for this team this year is everybody wants to see them play better. Like we want to play better on defense. We want to play better on offense. The offense was one of the worst in football. We talked about it endlessly. We want to see Sam play better. Everybody has to do better. From top to bottom, Joe Douglas, Adam Gase, Sam Darnold, everybody's got to play better, do better. As a team, they need to perform better, produce, win games. It's as simple as that. To say, at this point on May 9th, to say, the spotlight's on Darnold or Gase, spotlight's on the whole friggin' team. Everybody's just got to do better. It's not a winning franchise. The AFC East is up for grabs. There's, no more built-in excuses. It's just enough. I'm tired of it. Just bring on the season already. Bring on training camp and keep getting better. Keep making moves and see what happens. So I'm tired of talking about all that stuff. But thank you to Fireman Ed for joining me too. That was a blast, man. So, obviously the big thing now is the season. The schedule came out, which not going to put a lot of time in it. It's, first of all, we don't know when it's going to start. It's going to start on time. Is it not? I mean, the UFC has an event tonight where a fighter tested positive yesterday, and that kind of threw things in a tailspin. So it's going to be fascinating to see how the NFL handles this, if it starts on time, if they push it back 2 months, how they handle testing and everything else. But assuming they do go into the schedule, instead of doing all 16 games, for me, it's the first 4. I usually do seasons in quarters, quarters of the seasons, it's 4 quarters. And then you reassess from there, because to say what's going to happen in week 12, well, we have no idea what's going to be the trend of injuries and, trades and whoever else. You don't know what's going on. So you look at the first game, and it's at Buffalo, where division rival, the early favorite to win the division. And that's interesting because the Jets are going to be most likely incorporating four new offensive linemen, a couple new receivers. So the defense could, for the most part, be intact and will have a much easier time gelling. But the offense, that's going to be on the premium. The premium's going to be on coaching. What can Adam Gase and his staff do to get this team prepared as fast as possible to gel, be in sync against a very good Buffalo defense? And that'll be the story of the game. So you look at that, and now a lot of people want to say that's a must-win game. There's not really a must-win game in week 1. If anything, it sets a tone. You're setting a tone for week 2, week 3, week 4. You win week 1, you don't have as much pressure to win week 2. You lose week 1, week 2 is all right, we don't want to be 0-2. You go 0-2, things can spiral out of control, as we've seen. So week 1 is a tone setter. You can make a big statement winning a game in Buffalo, or and I think the most important thing is you want to come out and play very well. You want to play physical. And you want to, especially on offense, show some things and let Sam Darnold start getting in rhythm and get him in sync and rolling along. So, yes, it's an important game, not must-win week 1. It sets your tone. You want to see what this team is going to be made of coming out and, on the road against a very good team. Week 2, it gets interesting because your home opener is always in theory, when things are normal, a great crowd, one of my favorite days of the year. But now you're playing one of the best teams in football. So the San Francisco 49ers are as good as it gets. I mean, they are just well-coached, physical. I mean, they have a ton of talent. So here's where what happens in week 1 can trickle down into week 2. You win week 1. Week 2 is a little bit, all right, you can, if you lose, you're not going to freak out. You lose week 1. Week 2, you're going to a little more pressure to win this game. And this is tough. It's a tough matchup, but it's early on in the season, so you never know what could happen. I mean, like I said, there's a lot of elements of surprise. You don't, the 49ers don't know what Sam Darnold and the Gase offense are going to do. There's a lot of different things that can happen. Tough matchup there. Week 3, I believe it's the Colts. Yeah, away to the Colts. Colts, very well coached team. Now Philip Rivers most likely to be quarterbacking there. And that's it's a tough matchup for the Jets. So you look at all 3 games are very good, well coached teams. Physical, there's difficult matchups. On the road again, it's hard to say what the crowd environment's going to be like, what you're really dealing with in terms of that. But the Colts are a good team. They're a very good team. What Philip Rivers is a quality veteran quarterback that can make all the throws, lead by example, and do a lot of good things. They can establish the run. They got a good offensive line. So that's not an easy matchup for the Jets either. And then you come back and play the Broncos. And the Broncos are another team where they have a young quarterback, but they have a lot of talent too. Some very explosive playmakers on both sides of the ball. So if you look at this, I don't really want to do wins and losses, but there's no gimmies. And everybody keeps talking about how tough the schedule is, and that's very true. You have great opponents, a lot of road trips, West Coast trips, and all this other stuff. But you gotta go week by week. And like I said, injuries happen, other moves happen. You don't know what you're dealing with. A team that looks good now in May could be terrible in August or like November. So a lot could change. The one thing I don't like that is starting to bother me a little bit in terms of the schedule is I understand the schedule's tough, a lot of traveling, a lot of good teams, but I don't want it to be a built-in excuse to not win games. Like, to me, this should be a challenge for the Jets where it inspires them. So listen, everybody's counting us out and say we're going to suck because of the schedule or only win 5-6 games. Let's win 9 or 10. Like, prove people wrong and start standing up for yourselves. Like, and I don't want this to be a point where, say the Jets go 6-10, and it's like, well, that's kind of what we expected because the schedule was too hard. Like, that's a kind of a loser mindset. I hate that. So I understand the schedule's tough, but teams that are notoriously good in May, a lot of times it doesn't translate to October, November, December. Like, there's always so many things that happens. So I don't want to go into the season with expectations where the Jets can't compete in every game. You want to see them in every game, compete at a high level every game. Obviously, out of 16 games, you have a couple duds in between, but the overall performance should be better, and there's no built-in excuses for losing. Like, the travel schedule doesn't say, okay, you can lose. Like, the Jets always lost on the West Coast for whatever reason, whatever coach. I'm tired of that. Change that. Like, change your mindset, especially when you're infusing all this leadership and culture and everything else. Let that translate to start bucking trends. Stop being a predictable team. Stop having lousy efforts on the West Coast. Stop starting off slow in the first quarter. Stop falling apart before halftime. Stop falling apart after halftime. Like, change all of this stuff. And that's how you build your culture and your leadership and everything else. So all these built-in excuses and stuff, listen, schedule's tough. I understand. It's not going to be easy. But step up to the challenge. Be better. Like, overcome adversity. That's what this team has to do. Because right now, a lot of fans they don't like Gase. They don't expect much. They're down on a lot of things, and they're waiting for the other shoe to fall. And then it's like, buck the trend. And the way you do it is you win, and you win early in the season. Like the tone setter. You win in Buffalo, say you surprise San Francisco, and then you're rolling. So we'll see what happens. Not sure if this video made any sense, but I'm just trying to get my thoughts out before I forget them all. And that's really it. In terms of roster moves, there's a lot of moves still to be made. There's still receivers out there. There's an offensive lineman out there too. Still pass rushers out there. But you think at this point, I think teams are waiting to get physicals and see what we have and who we have, and get these guys at some point to work out where you can see where they are in terms of their ability. Like, the Jets have, you want to see Avery Williamson in person. You want to see Brian Winters in person. You want to see C.J. Mosley in person. What is their level of health? What is their level of ability? What do we have before we start making moves? Like, the last thing you want to do is say cut at Avery Williamson if C.J. Mosley's not healthy. Or you get rid of Brian Winters or something else, and some of the guys you signed can't pass the physical. Or there's concerns, or they're not as far as long as they want to. Or some of the rookies you drafted that have injury concerns. Are they all healthy? Where are they at? Where are they going to be in May? Where are they going to be in August? So there's still a lot of uncertainty. So I think there could be more moves made. It may be later down the line where, it's when you have an idea of what you have in your facility, which is not easy right now. So we'll see what happens. This is going to be a real slow time for football news. So not really sure how many videos we're going to do or shows because there's not really left to talk about. We don't want to bore you guys. I mean, we can only bitch and complain about so many things and so whatever else. So hope you guys are safe. Hope you guys are healthy. Social distancing. Check out Let's Talk Mental Health, something that it's really near and dear to our hearts. We're trying to raise awareness for that. And that's it. Talk to you guys next time.